If you have the wrong attitude, you will not succeed in dating. So nice guys, aka people pleasers, have an attitude problem, but not the one you'd expect. Some of these men, they're crushing it at work, building successful businesses, and tackle complex problems without breaking a sweat. But put them in the dating arena, they transform into defeatists who've lost before they've even started. They sabotage themselves with the can't do attitude, giving up the first sign of resistance or even rejection. So they get no traction after a few weeks. What do? They quit. They're not getting any results, instant gratification. What do? They jump to the next strategy. And then they get trapped in a cycle of perpetual starting and stopping, mastering nothing, accomplishing less. In this episode, we're going to be exposing the exact attitude you need to get out of the friend zone, stop getting rejected, or even feeling isolated. And I'll share with you, and my colleagues too, will share the mindset shift that you need to start winning in dating and also in life. Gentlemen, welcome to the Nice Guy Show. I'm your host, Faisal, and I'm joined with Ari and Chuck. And three of us are dedicated to helping guys, especially nice guys who are people pleasers, to excel in love, life, and sex. All right, gents. So Ari and Chuck, when it comes to attitude, does nice guy's attitude really stink? I mean, did you ever have a sticky attitude? Has your attitude changed because you've gone on the nice guy recovery? So what was it like before? Let's start with you, Chuck.
Yeah, I think attitude is one of those things that a lot of nice guys struggle with. And being a recovering nice guy, something I've struggled with, the whole stinking thinking kind of thing of where you get stuck in those thoughts of like, this sucks, they suck, I suck. And I think that then sort of colors your attitude, and your attitude then is how you present in the world, how you and how you experience life. So I think if you have an attitude that is one of, life is supposed to be problem free and smooth. If you have an attitude that, things should be easy and then they're not, if you have an attitude of comparing yourself to other people, those are all recipes for having a bad attitude and feeling bad about yourself and feeling bad about the situation, people, the world, all of that kind of stuff. And then I think the flip side of that is, do you have an attitude of gratitude? Are you able to see things from a different perspective, reframe those things that come up that are maybe don't have as much excitement to them, where you can reframe something to find your own motivation, because I think it does. It comes down to, your attitude and motivation are directly connected. And if you've got a bad attitude, then your motivation is going to be low. And if you're, just kind of feeds on itself, then doesn't it? You've got a bad attitude, so your motivation's low, and then you start seeing, things in a negative way, and it just sort of compounds itself. So I think it's a real challenge for humans to reshift, change the attitude from one of being, disappointment, discouragement to one of hope and wonder.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I want to be exploring this podcast as well, is like how a lot of guys struggle with having the right kind of attitude to tackle dating, but not also just dating, but life as well. And then what kind of shifts did you make? And then what kind of shifts you see your clients make? And then, some tips that we can give the guys as well. All right. What was your attitude like?
I've had to work on my attitude a lot. I mean, I think definitely when I was younger, I would get oneitis. You know what that is? Where you feel like it's got to work with this one woman, like, and you pine away for months about how you want to win them over. And you just get really stuck on that one woman, like that she's going to solve all your problems, bring up your self-esteem. You'll be happy. So that was a mindset that I really had to break. Just getting stuck on one woman, and for long periods. So at some point I decided, like, I'm never gonna give that power to a woman again. Um, but I think that's the trap that a lot of nice guys fall into, is they get stuck on this one person. If they can just get her, then they've solved everything, when they haven't kind of like resolved their own issues around self-worth. Um, and they tend to get into fantasy about what it's going to be like once they get in a relationship, or a relationship with this particular person. Um, so that's something that I've really had to work on, and I see that with nice guys that I work with. Is that something you see?
It is. It is. One question I had was, when you saw this, when you were hooked on this one girl, the oneitis, right? Did you ever have the attitude or the mindset as like, I've got to win? There is nothing, I have to be successful, or was it, I really like this girl, but I'm hopeless, I'm useless, I'm never going to get this kind of girl? Where were you at with the oneitis?
It was probably in the middle, like that. I'm determined, like I really want to see if I can get them, but also discouraged at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, of
Kind of
course.
living in fantasy.
Did you
Um,
so no, I think, well, I can only speak for myself and some of the guys I worked with. So, Chuck, have you ever got this oneitis and it's like, this is the girl I have to have, but yeah, you had this conflict part of, I'm not good enough, or I never get her.
Yeah, I think especially when I was younger, that kind of thing of like, there's this drive, I have to have this thing, Um, but I was just talking to a client this last week, and he's been dating this woman for about 3 months now, and this is the longest relationship he's had since his divorce, which was a couple of years ago. And he was kind of telling me, he's like, the thing is that, like, she ticks all the boxes. I'm really, I really, really like her a lot, and I'm ready to call her my girlfriend and that kind of thing. But he's just like, the that excitement, that like obsessive kind of, can't stop thinking about her kind of thing, like, that's just not there. And I said, I wonder if that isn't just maturity, though. I think when we're younger, we get into this sort of, like you're talking about, the one-itis kind of thing. And you're really chasing this feeling, this sort of like, oh my God, I got to have her and I can't think about anything else. And it's just sort of this obsessive, rush of dopamine that you're just getting all of the time. And, your phone pings and you're hoping it's her. And, and if it is, you're excited. If it isn't, you're not. I think that's just immaturity. I think a more mature kind of love, or a more mature kind of relationship is, it's like, I can, I like this person. I want them in my life, but like, I'm not going to die if they're not, they don't text me. And I think that's the thing where nice guys fall into, where they get kind of obsessive and compulsive about a woman, and then they, eventually they burn out.
When you're talking about, I think a lot of readers or listeners to this would have experienced some sort of infatuation when they've been really infatuated with it. What oneitis that really I see is a big problem is the attitude that the guys have, especially when it comes to tackling dating. They go in with this mindset, and I've been working with this guy, and one side of his attitude is like, I have to solve this problem. I really have to solve this problem. So I said, I love the fact that you got this determination. But on the other side, when he has to do the work, it's complete defeatist. Oh, no girl likes me. No woman's going to ever settle down with me. every time I meet a woman, she's always gonna think bad of me. I'm never gonna be enough. It's this constant self-criticizing, criticizing the situation, criticizing dating. There's always a problem there. It's never this energy of like, I'm really relentless. I will fight. I will go. I will not give up. And a lot of the guys I see that are the ones going, oh, I can't be bothered, can't be asked, can't be doing this. But I want the amazing result. But the attitude that has, I don't want to put all the effort in. Yeah. Do you see that with the guys as well? Do you see that that's really killing their success and things that they
I think
want?
that's true of all things, right? Whether it's dating or business or anything else. It's like I want it to be easy. Going back again to the nice guy 101, which is I want a problem-free, smooth life. And I have this belief that if I do everything right and I meet everybody else's needs, then that will meet mine and I'll have a problem-free, smooth life. And until you accept the fact that life is not problem-free and not smooth, you will always struggle with arguing with reality. And every time you argue with reality, you lose.
Yeah, I see like nice guys, they don't want the messiness of dating. They don't like making mistakes. I mean, who does like making mistakes or being rejected or going on lots of dates and trying out different people and like understanding that's actually how you become better at dating, better at finding better people, better at relationship is through experience. I mean, I think a lot of bad daters, they're just like they're wanting to get into that secure relationship, but skipping the stage of dating. When that dating itself has valuable lessons that are going to aid them in a relationship.
Can you name a few?
Yeah, I mean, even just dealing with tension, flirting, um, creating dates and memorable experiences, just attuning to a new person, expressing your needs. I mean, you're gonna have to do all of those things in dating, so those are going to be valuable in a relationship too. And then just like ascertaining what are the qualities that I want in a woman or in a partner. Like I mean, some people just seem to know right out of the gate what they want, but like for me, it's something that has evolved over time, and it's evolved with dating experience, and so that's something that I think is valuable. So yeah, a lot of people want to just skip dating. It's like maybe this is what you're seeing with some of your clients, Faisal, is like it's a problem they just want to solve so they can get to the next level.
It's true.
As opposed to just like a whole arena of skills and experience that you want to master and not just rush through.
You see a lot of entitlement attitude when it comes to dating. I mean, it's not just about nice guys, but all sides, men, women. There's a lot of entitlement. There's like, well, I'll just download the app, put some photos on, and I should get the results. And there's a lot of covert contract, or there's a lot of expectation. Is that I expect? It's like the saying: everybody wants to live like a millionaire, but no one wants to work like a millionaire. Everybody wants to be famous, but nobody wants to work somebody who's. So we always want that instant result without the hard work. And the guys I do work with, kudos to them. They are putting the work in, or they are wanting that. But one thing that really, really hampers them is they will kind of be performative on the date. And these guys have watched a lot of YouTube videos, done pickup stuff or any kind of stuff, and they'll be performative on the date. And as they're interacting, she's getting a sense of the guy to see, has he got steel? Has he got metal? Is he the kind of guy that will, when pressure hits, when the tough gets going, will he going or will he escape? Will he become avoidant? And he's communicating this through his energy. And as soon as she sees that attitude that he has, is if it's going to get difficult, I'm going to panic. I'm going to take things personally. I'm going to be out of here. And the stories that he's constant replaying is, see, I told you it's difficult. See, I told you women don't like me. See, I told you the dating apps work. See, I told you everything else is the outside problem. And when the guy has lived a whole life, he's energized that way. And that's the first thing I see where the guys are like already rejecting themselves before she's even rejected them.
What about you, Faisal? Where do you fall into a bad dating mindset still?
Oh, that's a good question. Where do I fall into a bad dating mindset, a bad attitude towards it? I've been putting the attitude of will she like me, to flipping that around to will I like her. And sometimes the attitude is, or maybe I'm a little bit too old for her, or maybe she won't like me because of my color, maybe she won't like me the way I speak, maybe she won't like me because I have kids. So I can really sometimes sense those stories coming out. Maybe I'm not enough for her, maybe I'm not rich enough for her, maybe I'm not tall enough for her. So my limitations start to creep, and I'm thinking, whoa, I need to put a rein on that one. And then go back to, practicing, because before I started to practice all of this, that would be my narrative. That would be my story. The story of, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not unlovable. I have to impress her. And then the worst one, right? This is the worst one, is I start comparing myself. Maybe she's had better. Maybe she's had some much more masculine, confident, charismatic, rich guys who've, spoiled her to here and to the moon. And that comparison comes in. Maybe they were much bigger, stronger, bigger muscles, bigger, you know what? And then that comparison comes in. And then I feel shrunk and small again. So that's where my negative attitude can start to creep in. And this is where I have to stick a boundary in, like, nope, we're not letting this in.
But
So how
I
about for you
agree. Like
guys?
doing the turnaround from is she going to like me? Does she like me? To do I like her? I think it is a crucial one. I see a lot of men that they're just so focused on, is she going to like me? I think that's
the first one. That is the biggest one.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one.
And a lot of
Do
them
any of you guys struggle with that?
a lot of them have never rejected someone or decided that they're not into someone. Like that's a new experience for them.
But they've never rejected. They've been rejected. But what else they do is they pre-reject themselves. So they don't reject the external; they reject themselves. So I see a lot of guys who will pre-reject themselves. Like, oh, I'm not enough for her. I'm not attractive enough for her. I'm not good enough for her. I'm not funny enough for her. Or I don't know what to say. So you know what? I'm not going to make an effort. So they're constantly pre-rejecting themselves, which is unattractive in a man. Well, actually, it's not unattractive in anyone.
I think also you have a mindset that is something of the nature of, I need to have a woman to validate my existence and my experience. And this is where the nice guy falls into the trap of making her the emotional center of his universe. So if she rejects me, then I must not be worth anything. Rather than looking at it as, if she rejects me, there's something flawed with her. Why would she reject me? Because I'm an amazing guy, and I think once we start truly loving ourselves and, the self-talk changes to like who I really know myself to be, like I'm a pretty fucking amazing guy, like I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm helpful, all of these qualities of myself are really true. And so if somebody doesn't want to be with me, it's more about them than it is with me. So I don't ever have to worry about somebody rejecting me, because anybody who rejects me is probably not somebody I want to hang out with anyway. I'm not looking at what's wrong with her. I'm always looking at what's wrong with me. And if I'm constantly trying to better myself and be a better person and be a better man and be better in relationships, be a better communicator, like, a good quality woman is going to want that. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for some, you know, basic woman who is interested in, how she looks on Instagram or something like that. I want somebody who's going to be, have a quality to them. And so I've been, and, very, very discerning in terms of who it is that I'm going to let into my life. They have to kind of, in a way, kind of like prove themselves to me. And I think that's a totally different attitude than most nice guys have. Most nice guys are like, well, if she likes me, then I must be okay, as opposed to like, I'm okay. And if she doesn't like me, I'm still okay. And that just means that she's not somebody that I would want to have in my life anyway. She's just going to, why would you want to be in a relationship with somebody who's just going to cause you a bunch of problems? Even if she's pretty and she gives you great sex, if all she does is complain and bitch and like,
Yeah, but loads of guys get into that, don't they? I mean,
I know.
okay, I put my hand up because she was hot. She was giving me good sex. That's what else do I need? Right? Yeah.
But it's not sustainable over a long period of time, I guess, is the thing.
Of
And
course.
So
I mean, but when you're young, you don't see that, do you?
No, you
actually,
don't.
it's not just about, but I think it's not by young. It's just immature, right? Because when you're immature,
well, there's a reason it's
and
called puppy love. All right, puppies are young baby dogs, right? So when you're in puppy love, it's an immature love, and there's going to be there's a lot of puppies out there, and that's fine. But just realize that,
but in
like,
grown-up bodies, that's the worrying thing is you have guys in your 40s and 50s and 60s still stuck in that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ari, have you come out of your puppy love from that oneitis girl?
Yeah, I'm not saying there's nothing I need to work on. I have higher standards now. Higher standards for who I'll go on a date with, and much higher standards for who I would get into a relationship with. So, that's something that I see with nice guys, though, is they don't have a high enough standard for how they want to be treated. They'll put up with mistreatment. They'll put up with abuse, or a lot of withholding. And I won't put up with shit. I'd rather be single. So I think, that's part of the mindset that a good dater needs to develop is, you're not worth more just because you're in a relationship.
Yeah, that's a good message.
So, I mean, I see people, men and women, who've come out of divorce, like we have, and they're married within a year or two, or they're in a serious relationship within a year or two after divorce. And I always kind of question that. It's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't worked through their issues and that the marriage will be dysfunctional like the old one, but it is a question mark for me. Like, have you worked on yourself enough that you've been able to create a different kind of relationship and date differently? So for me, I mean, I'm like 7 years out from when I split with my ex, but sometimes I'll fall into comparisons like, well, so and so has already, gotten married again, has a partner, and look, they seem happy. But like, I don't think that's really helpful. Like, I've been just taking my time to work on myself, to date, and not rush into it. So I think a lot of nice guys, they're just their self-worth is based on, have they gotten that partner? Um, it's not about like, do they have a full life? Um, so
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most limiting mindsets.
So let's unlimit the mindset. So what if you were to give one piece of advice to a guy, men listening to this, what would it be like so they can adjust their attitude so they can be far more successful when it comes to dating, but not just dating itself, but also, in life itself and in relationships, intimacy. So what's the one attitude would you say that they need to embody? Chuck.
That they're the prize, you know, that they're the one who like that. I just tell my guys, if you're looking for a unicorn, you got to be a unicorn, So what is it that I want to really get focused on? Like, who is it that I want to be? What kind of character do I want to have? What kind of lifestyle do I want to have? To design your life essentially by saying, these are the qualities that I want in myself, and these are the qualities that I'm going to embody. And then I think that then, the stuff as you show up in life like that, I think then those people who are, you become attractive, rather than, you're attracted to someone, you're attracting people to you, And then I think, if be 6'2" and make $300,000 a year and you'll be fine.
So plastic surgery. I'm glad you mentioned about when you said you're the prize, because I have a real problem when people say I'm the prize, because I think that's but what I liked about it is that you said build your character, build yourself up, and then you'll be able to track that, because a lot of dating advice out there is like, you're the prize.
Mhm.
Well, you're not going to feel like the prize if you're still in your fucking pajamas, masturbating over porn and things like that, and you have a real bad stinking attitude and you're not doing anything. So yeah. So I really like the fact that,
Well, you have to,
well,
in order to be the prize, you have to also like become the prize, right? You can't just be, like you said,
back it up. Yeah.
You got to back it up. Like not just that I am the prize, but I truly am. Like, I'm a good quality person, and the belief, I guess, in yourself that I am a good quality person, that I'm kind, I'm generous, and all of these characteristics that I'm working on within myself, that's something that's true about me. And it may be that I fall down from time to time, or I get some stinking thinking, or I do something like that. But ultimately, me loving myself and putting the energy and making, sort of myself like the thing that is the most important. And again, it goes back to what Glover talks about, the woman becomes the icing on the cake. If the icing goes away, you still got a great cake of a life. And I think most nice guys focus on trying to get the icing before they try making the great cake.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point. How about you, Ari? What's your icing advice?
Just cover her in icing. Sorry.
Bring her flowers, and
I like what you were saying, Chuck, about you have to become the prize. So like, yeah, I don't think I'm the prize is the right mantra. It's more like be the prize.
Yeah.
It's be be that man. But I was gonna say, like, is treating dating and relationships as a learning experience and a growth experience, and have gratitude for it. So if you can approach dating like something that's a privilege, something that you get to do instead of being a burden. Like I think a lot of bad daters, they see dating as this chore, like something they got to do to get to a relationship, and they got to jump through all these hoops to impress people. As opposed to like something you could enjoy, something you could use your creativity, something to yeah, be grateful that this person showed up, and she wanted to do her hair and her makeup and get her nails done before she saw you. Like, I mean, those are just sort of the physical things that a woman might do to prepare for a date with you. But yeah, even just emotionally showing up for a date with you, like, that's a special thing. Just like it's a special thing if you're doing that for a woman. So really treating dating and relationships as a special thing and not a chore or a burden. And
Yeah, I really like that attitude.
it's a learning experience too. Even if the date didn't go well, whatever that means, what did you learn from it? Did you learn you didn't like certain qualities that this person showed? Um, was it something about the date plan? Was it something about how you showed up? I mean, there's all kinds of learning experiences from dating, or just like, I never knew I liked axe throwing or whatever. Um, so that's part of how you can make progress in your dating.
Yeah, that's such a good attitude as well. So I like, Chuck, your attitude of, working on yourself so you become something worthy of a prize, something, of worthy. And then also you mentioned it's never going to be perfect. You are going to have your bad days, which is what a whole person is, integrated person is. You can have your good side and your bad side. So see both of that. Then I like how Ari put that dating and relationships is a growth machine, is a growth place. And you're going to learn from that. You're going to learn a lot about yourself and, how other people are. So it's a great learning experience. The one thing I want to leave with the guys is no matter what you do, no matter how many or who rejects you, just make sure you don't reject yourself. That's the most important thing. Is no matter, people will reject you, people will like you or not like you, who cares? But whatever you do, make sure you don't reject yourself. Guys, thank you for being part of the Nice Guy Show. I'm Faisal. I was joined with Chuck and Ari. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And please, if you really found this valuable, please share it with some other guy who will really appreciate this as well. And if you like this episode, check out episode number 50, which is why raising your standards makes nice guys attractive to women and money. And we'll see you on the next one.